It's time for Rabbi Minkowicz's Weekly Torah Lesson, a place where life's most difficult questions are answered. Here with his spiritual perspective and insight, Rabbi Minkowicz.
Welcome to this week's Torah lesson. This week's Torah portion is Parsha Shemot. The question is, how can we go out of our internal exile? So in this week's Torah portion, Parsha Shemot, we learn about the Jewish people getting into the Egyptian exile, where they're forced to work slave labor, and then Aryeh has a vision that the Redeemer of the Jewish people has been born, and obviously for Paro that means free slave labor is over. So Paro goes ahead and instructs all the midwives, if a male boy is born, a Jewish boy, he has to be put to death. Obviously the Jewish midwives were smart, they were able to keep them alive, etc. Now, when Paro instructed that the male boys should be put to death, so he said, how should it be done? Throw them into the Nile. So the question is asked, there's many ways to kill people. Why did he choose specifically to throw them into the Nile? So the Rebbe explains, according to Kabbalah and Chasidic, that the reason why he told them to put them in the Nile was because he wanted to create a spiritual death to them, besides a physical death. Why? What is the difference? What does the Nile resemble? Because we know that in Israel, where do we get blessing? Where do we allow all the crops to grow? We pray to God, the rain would come from heaven. In Egypt, they had the Nile, and what they said was that everything comes from the trenches that they made, so it was all coming through from the power of their hands. You know, they didn't look at that it was coming from God, they looked at it, all success came from their personal effort. So Pari was trying to accomplish that every Jewish child should know, where does your success come from? It doesn't come from God, it comes from human effort. And that in itself is exile, because you're living in a world which God created, God maintains, and you're believing that where does success come from? It comes from human effort. How did we get healed from that? So Moshe Rabbeinu came, and Moshe Rabbeinu instilled within us and awakened within us the faith that we have from God, and because we had the faith in God, that's how we were able to leave Egypt. So the Rebbe explains, when the Jewish people were in Israel, they saw God. That's called being free. When they initially came down into Egypt, and they remembered the experience from Israel, so even though they were in Egypt, they still remembered. But then when everybody that came to Egypt that wasn't Israel passed on, so nobody remembered, and therefore they totally got involved in the Egyptian lifestyle, what awakened them was what? Their faith in God. So it wasn't because they saw God. It wasn't because they remembered God. It was faith that they had within them. The Rebbe says everybody has a part of Moshe Rabbeinu's soul within us. And because we have a part of Moshe Rabbeinu's soul within us, we could at any moment awaken the faith that we have buried within us and have that powerful connection to God, and then we will experience true freedom. So in other words, if we want to experience true freedom and go out of our internal exile, by remembering that we have a part of Moshe Rabbeinu within us, we have faith in God. If we tap into that faith, we will actually experience true freedom. This week's Torah lesson is in memory of Baruch ben Aryeh Leib and Shlomo Ben Yosef. May their souls be elevated for the Torah that we're studying in their memory. Thanks so much for joining us for our weekly Torah lesson. For more information on Chabad, please see our website.